Today we're going to look at the new Lamborghini Technica and really describe why Lamborghini is the master of marketing. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Carside Chat. I am your host, VIPPrimo, and this morning I was awoken to a video reminder that I had set up about the new Lamborghini Huracan that was coming out. I don't even think we had a name yet, but it's called the Tecnica, and it is a very cool car. And I have to say that when I read this whole thing coming up, I was like, this is going to be cool. So watching the video, I immediately not only just started paying attention to the car, but I really loved the idea of how this commercial was set up, how this video, how the Lamborghini is up to their game. Everybody used to say, hey, Lamborghini doesn't have commercials on TV. And they were like, why? It was because there's no buyers on television. Well, I'm going to tell you that you are completely wrong. And the reason is now very readily available that Lamborghini owners seek out Lamborghini products, and people who like the products actually seek them out versus them seeking other people out. And the thing is once we saw this video, which we're going to take a little bit of a look at, I don't know how much I can actually play. We might kind of jump around on it a little bit. But yeah. Once you see this video, you're going to really understand exactly why these guys master what they do. And this is a learning experience, not just for one brand, but I think every brand could learn something for this. Before we start today, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon. So some of you guys usually just listening to this as a voice area today, and others of you, Spotify has made it available for me so that I can actually be able to put this into video format. So you guys are seeing me. This is great. And I am super excited about it. Please, I got a little scruff today. I have been in a huge rush. This has been going nonstop. So one of the reasons I haven't been able to do things is because if you saw the video yesterday on our YouTube channel, we actually have a 360 video now. So we have the ability to do virtual reality drives. This is something that I really want to expound on and do a lot more with. So yeah, there's a lot of other opportunities. I had one of the things I did this weekend, which I have to say was an epiphany, was the ability to go out and actually film something like a car commercial. It's kind of an NDA right now, so I can't disclose too much of it, but what we did was just astounding. Every piece of footage that we saw. And I have to say, I've always wanted to make a movie. I wrote a script way back in 2005. And the story has kind of changed and morphed a little bit, but it's one of those things I'd really love to sit down with somebody and actually make a movie out of it. I think it would be an amazing story. And like I said, it's something that I've just had, but I want to do it with the right group. And the thing is I kind of think I may have found the group for it. It's really just going to be, where do we go from here? But I have to say that one thing that really has been bugging me, and the thing that really has taken, it's 2 years now that this has been going on, that has been kind of behind the scenes, and you may have seen it. Executive Automotive Society started off kind of as aggressive design, and aggressive design was more of a hardware thing. We started that as more of selling products, and the videos that were associated really pushed the product line, and it was something that I wanted that to stay as a product thing. Selling shirts, helping people in car clubs promote themselves, giving them different opportunities. And when we wanted to do the video stuff, it kind of just morphed into it, but I wanted it to be its own thing. And this brand, Executive Automotive Society, started way back then. I want to say it was like 2005, 2006. So they kind of came together. There was a lot of problems with the way YouTube and other things handled it. Back then it was Street Fire, there was LimeWire. You really had to, any place you could put a video, you could put it out. There was no platform like we have today where I can just put stuff up and you guys can see it. So that was the thing is it was very tough to do that. But when about 2019, I decided to go ahead with it and say now Executive is its own thing and kind of run this the way we wanted to do it. But if you've ever tried to design a website and worked with other people, it is bar none a nightmare. And the thing was, is I thought dealing with professionals, dealing with other people, that the process was going to get easier, and it really has been nothing but pain and spending a ton of money that I really just threw away. So I finally kind of just gave up and said, you know what, I can't ask anybody to do it anymore. I had to learn how to do all this stuff myself. So it actually took a lot of time to basically do what I needed to do and get back into it. But congratulations, ExecutiveAutomotiveSociety.com is actually under my control. I'm able to put updates on it, do the stuff I need to do, and I am just so happy. Go over there, take a look at it, see what it looks like. It's so funny. We were going to make a video yesterday to kind of promote it. And funny enough, we had some IP problems, so we had to redirect the website. Little things like that, they're just going to be happening. You have to bounce with it. So that was the thing is I was happy to do it. Now, the other thing is if you have the ability, go over to Instagram. Instagram's been chugging along the whole time. We actually have a Facebook page, so Executive Automotive Society Facebook page. And if you're out there in the world, you may get, and you're driving your car, you may get a little flyer, and that flyer might have a QR code, and that means that you can go to the private group and be invited to some of the private things, or the global things, the reminder page, if you will, where we really put in the work. So that's that. And I am glad to be kind of over that hump, if you will, because it has just been, I don't even know how to explain it. There's so much to it. But yeah, there's some, I've been kind of washing this around. Obviously, I wanted you guys to take the journey with me of going from, being the small farm boy that came from Virginia, raising tobacco, to moving to New England, to basically raising some businesses, working with my awesome wife who put together some stuff with me, and we now run all our businesses. I work from home. I'm able to do this video stuff whenever I want to do it, and that has really brought me to, I kind of was like, where's the ceiling here? And the thing was, is I said, do I share it with everybody? And I think I am. I'm taking my real estate courses right now, and I'm getting into real estate. My friend Jim has really pushed me to do this. We sat down one time and just kind of had a heart-to-heart on it, and he said, the next step has got to be real estate. And he's right. We have houses in different areas, but a lot of stuff that really isn't, I want to say, making me money. So I wanted to be able to take that, and I think that's the next level. So if anybody said, where do you go from owning, the BMWs, owning the Porsche, having the fun cars that I buy because I want to buy them, and then kind of moving up to that big, I'm going to say elite level. So in other words, buying the Lamborghinis, buying the Bentleys and the Rollses and stuff like that. And I really think that, investment, no matter who you are, if you get that first thing that kind of gets you there, and then you kind of start learning that you have to invest and get to it. So I'm hoping that you guys join me with that journey, because I don't want to just share these cars. I want to be able to own these cars. And I know that in my time of selling them, it was one thing where I said, you know what, I'll sell these cars forever. I'll never be able to buy one doing it. But it was a good time. It was fun. I loved meeting the people that I met today. A lot of you guys, I so appreciate the friendships that I've made, especially in the Lamborghini world. It really is a family, and you're going to see that right now when we go into this commercial, how Lamborghini really preemptively kind of tells you what they want you to hear, and then they build to it. So I'm going to put the video up over here, and we're going to press play with it. So the first thing he rolls this thing out, and he sets a standard. This is the president. So I love when they do a video and you really start off with the buck stops here. This is the president. Now he's talking right now, and he's setting the standard for the car. He's saying the best of the best, this kind of thing.
In other words, three souls that come together to create something.
And I love that. So this is the whole thing. So before we get into this next part, which this next part is pure gold, I want to say something about the way he did that. Notice that he sets the standard for the car. And it's not just sets the standard, but the idea that that it's getting backed up. So this car is going to come out. It's going to be everything that they hype about these cars. It's so funny that we have all these arguments with the Ferrari guys, and I love you guys to death, by the way. But we have these arguments about like, hey, well, really just the brand is making the same car over and over again and just doing stuff. It's not. It's really every time we see this, and it's with every brand, and it's all based on how you kind of sell the brand, if you will. But it's not just about building the car up, and we'll see that it's about taking that one thing and mastering it. The first time you make an omelet, it's not a perfect omelet. The first time you made your first omelet, I hope it was crap. I hope it was the worst thing ever. When we had first started making our brands, it was very difficult for us to start off and say, this is the perfect one. You don't want to settle on that. The first thing I wanted to do was test everything that we had and continue to test it until we were happy to bring it to the public. And that's something that Lamborghini not only can do, they master that. Here's being brought to the public the best thing that we have, working more in aerodynamics or working less on speed. They set their standard and their goals right up front. And so you as the buyer, and it's not hidden either, you as the buyer know what you're getting from the car. But this next part right here is pure magic, and that is who the buyers of a Lamborghini are.
How would I describe him in 3 words? Courageous, indomitable, wild.
This is incredible. The idea of not just saying, this is the typical ideology of the brand, so this is the kind of person, but you're giving them stuff that who doesn't want to be this person, and this person is an abstract. We never say the name of this guy. We never set a standard and say, well, this is Gary, and Gary's really good at what he does, and this is the kind of person he is. No, we set standards that everybody wants to have, or certain people want to have, if you will. I'm sure not everybody wants to be that, great person that, has a suit or wears a leather jacket. But it also says that this is the kind of person they want to be, and you can be it with the car. You're saying in your head the picture of the bull, and then ends it with that.
He drives a Lambo.
That.
He drives a Lambo. He drives a Lambo.
He drives a Lambo.
He drives a Lamborghini Huracan Technica.
That is just, sorry for pausing it back and forth there. That just kills it. Like, we don't know who that person is. We have no idea. But the thing is who are we seeing in that seat? I don't care who you are, what you do, what kind of person you are. And a lot of people say, no, I don't want a Lamborghini. That's too much. It's whatever. It's excessive. No, you just saw yourself in that seat. You saw yourself as a person who was a busy worker that, who's the cool person you want to hang out with? You want to hang out with yourself. There it was in living color, man. That was great. And then the idea of not only just saying that person drives a Lambo, this person drives a Lambo, this person drives a Lambo, and then nailing it home with saying that's the person that drives the Lamborghini Technica. I'm just so impressed by that. Like, marketing genius. And everybody just used to say, hey, they don't have car commercials on TV. Why don't they have car commercials on TV? I'm like, because you can't do that. That doesn't work in television. And the crazy thing is that in coming from, and I know the Lamborghini owners, I know the people that I hang out with, and I know the identity that they go by, and they're going to look at that, and so they'll kind of scoff at it or whatever. But in the same respect, they will come back to it and say, yeah, that's me. And just being able to identify it as a family, and the idea of consistent thinking with this brand, man, it's a master course in marketing. I wish I could capture it all. But what I want to do here is I want to skip over to kind of presenting the car here real quick. And this is where I really like, they kind of go back into
Thanks to its rear-wheel drive transmission.
Rear-wheel drive. That's something that, and all-wheel drivers are great. I love the all-wheel drive setup, but we're talking purity. And as they move up, it was funny that they went from that all-wheel drive to
aerodynamic efficiency.
overall aerodynamics. See, remember, that's something that they were
The
in
Huracan
before.
Technica combines the best of the Huracan family. It is founded on the driving performance of the Huracan.
So there you go. You have the idea of this car that's saying every time they make a car, we've taken all the things that we've done in the past and we're gonna master them. We're gonna up our game. We're gonna put stuff out, and I'm gonna skip over here a little bit to this kind of. They have the little cutaway section here, and I want you to see this. This is
We wanted to
just
maintain
amazing.
The powertrain of the STO, the naturally aspirated V10
There you go.
500 liter that delivers
So this kind of cutout stuff, I love being able to get right into the car and see it. The distinctive sound, that is so integral to the type of cars that we drive. Now this right here, the aerodynamics of this car, being able to show that, and the idea of how they did that in the past. Look at that. That's amazing. And this is something that they've been working on probably since, I want to say, 2009, 2010, is the idea of this new concept of drag, or the idea of the aerodynamic efficiency. The way you go faster is really to learn how to cut through air. And just seeing this right now, like, there's a lot of thought that goes into this about how this car is really cutting through the air. It may kind of skip a little bit here because I do want to show you here. This is the brake system. This is something they've been working on for a while too, is this braking and how it cools the braking. Not just thinking about aerodynamics and the external because that's speed, but thinking about the things about cornering, braking, all those suspension issues. You can have all the power in the world, but if you can't get the power down and be able to brake in turns, your car is slow. And they put in the work on it to make sure those secondary parts happen. Let's skip to right there.
Cars are always adopt to the fun to drive approach. That's why we wanted to express this feeling also when you look at the new Huracan Technica.
There you go. This stuff right here is amazing with the little concept art designs and stuff that you guys see all the time. That's the back door of every great design. Is it starts on that pen and paper and ends up with what you see there with this car. Lighting is perfect, stage, everything about it is great. And to talk about the car itself, because I'm going to touch on it a little bit. I haven't seen the car in person, obviously. I have some friends that are going down that are going to be viewing it in the next couple of days. I love the venting. I love the silhouette of the car. And it really just takes it's one of the complaints that I used to have about all these different brands that we used to see all the time was they would take a design and then they would just redesign it. So let's say, for instance, and I'll put something that I think a lot of you might know is the Toyota Celica. The Celica started off as kind of the flip-up headlight car. It had really good design cues to it. It went to the next Celica. It went with the rounded eyes. Both cars were really good. Some people like one for the other. A lot of you guys like the flip-up stuff, and I'm with you. It was funny that the rounded eye thing kind of worked, and Mercedes kind of adopted that too, so they had the look later on. So it was hard to kind of just ignore it all. Do you know what I mean? Both cars worked. But then when they went to the 7th gen Celica, it was a totally different car. It was more round, more edgy, if you will, but it had a weird, it wanted to be edgy, but it wanted to be rounded at the same time. And that's the thing is it didn't really push itself to be the same car that we had seen in the past. So it was one of those things of too much change, just make that a new car. And I think that was kind of the problem with the new Supra and why they got so much pushback was because I think it would have been better as its own vehicle versus being what they kind of sold it as. This car, there is no doubt that it is itself over and over again. It's being that part of its history. You know what I mean? It's evolution of from start to finish. That it started off with the Huracan base idea. It went to the next level of Huracan. It continued to, and this is all I want to say part of that Gallardo lineage. But the Gallardo and the Huracan, totally different cars, and that logic that went from car 1 to car 2, it changed, and the name changed with it, and the representation changed with it, and everything about it, that it was its identity. Like I said, everything changed with it, but it's all still the same car. It's taking things and saying our original design was perfect, let's just master it. And that's what they done. I don't know if this is the last. I know that obviously these cars are going to be moving into electric and electric hybrid and some other things in the future. I don't know if this is, what we should expect from the last of this car, or, how it's going to go in the future. But I have to say, from what I'm seeing right now, I really like where it's gone. And like I said, the design work of this team, you guys, from the marketing, from everything, these guys we talked to in the past, you guys should be really proud of yourselves for what you put together. Lamborghini right now leads the world, I think, in social media. I think they lead everybody when it comes to vehicles. And that was pretty much something that we've always had. It's, you put their poster on your wall, you fantasize about owning the car, and one day you own it, and you take all those things that you just saw right there, and you say, that's the kind of person I want to be. And I don't know, to close it out too, is it perfect? No, of course not. These are abstract concepts. They're the idea of saying, who am I? But that's, what other brand does that? When did we ever see something with Ferrari that kind of hit it out there, that just said anybody can view that video? You can go out right now, whether you can afford a Lamborghini or not. Don't expect to be getting an invite to the viewing of the car, but you can go right out right now and take a look at that, and enjoy it just like everybody else, and use it as a set goal. And if we're ever going to expand this car world and make this world bigger, our brands, especially the biggest brands we have, the guys that are the flagship, Lamborghini obviously being the flagship, but if we go back to brands like Ferrari, if we go to Porsche, remember the old Porsche commercial that showed the kid standing next to the window, and he's looking at the car in the screen, and he goes up to the guy and he gives him $1, and he goes, "What's that?" And he goes, "That's my down payment." And, it's like, this kid, he's a kid, doesn't even have a job. Like, what are you going to do? And then it cuts to the future of him buying the newest Porsche and driving it around the track. That's how we keep people in this. That's how we make a car world. That's how we make future people that want to be vested into this. And I have to lay this squarely at the feet of the automakers themselves. Lamborghini, good job, lead the pack. That's how you do it. Ferrari, catch up. Maserati, Bentley, Rolls, all you guys, do it. Get out there. Rolls is getting in on the game too. They're knowing exactly what's going on. They're trying to get their word out there. The idea that not everybody wants to be just the performance guy. Some people want to just drive. And if you've ever driven a Rolls Royce, you'll absolutely know what the beauty of driving a car that has a ton of power, that's all about that driving experience. It's not getting there quick. It's getting there, I want to say quietly. It's getting there in luxury and style, but underneath you is a ton of power. Bentley is another one that the history of Bentley racing, I would say, easily encompasses any other kind of vehicle out there. Like Ferrari and Porsche, you guys did a great job with the way you did. I know for Enzo just dedicated his life to racing. Go look at the history of W.O. Bentley and look at the stuff that he put out there. You guys need to get that stuff out there. You need to not just say we're a luxury brand, but be able to say, the trick right now that these brands are doing is they're just using the SUV to carry them over the hump. And hey, a lot of the stuff, like some of the stuff that I've done on this very channel, I looked at people and I've done, okay, and I'm going to say this, it's going to be very arrogant of me to say this, but I'm going to say it. When I was working in the business, I told you guys this is what we need to do. You told me I was stupid. Today, your competition is doing it. Now I'm saying it again, and now I'm in the new thing, and I know what's cutting edge for these cars, and I'm telling you, you can pay attention to me right now, or you can let somebody like Lambo, when they get to the next brand or the next brand, the next big thing, that goes out there and takes this and takes it to that other level and runs with it and leaves you guys all behind. I am going to come back and say, I told you so. The same way I did it last time, I'm going to do it again. You end up losing all this stuff to brands like, not to say it's bad, but Tesla came in, had a whole new structure in the way they sold vehicles. Other brands came in and they had a whole new way of thinking. Now there's a whole new concept of internet companies out there that try to sell cars, and it's all about the structure. I would hate to see the idea when manufacturers one day look over at all these guys they've licensed and say, you guys really aren't usable anymore. So you, as the person that has the license to sell those cars, you have a huge ability to do stuff right now. And you guys need to be just as popular as the manufacturer. These manufacturers are telling you now that this is now a social thing. It's the idea of people should be able to go to a Lamborghini dealership, sit in a social area to experience these cars, almost like a museum. I hate to say that. I mean, some people are going to say I'm stupid for saying that, but it works for Porsche. It works for other brands. There's going to be a time when it's just going to be the way things are. And if you want to get people excited, these are entry levels. These are things that it's why we built Halo cars. The idea that we built a car that excited everybody to get people wanting to buy cars. And then they said, well, I can't afford that big flagship Viper. So, you know what? I'll buy a Dodge Hellcat or a Dodge this or whatever. And I'll pretend to be the fastest guy, if you will. And now they build every car they try to build that's their performance vehicle is actually at this almost elite level. Like, we go to exotic events now, and I remember back in the 80s and 90s, you go to exotic events and you get these performance cars that were all over the place because 300 horsepower was the number. 400 horsepower was, killer top end. I drove a 227 horsepower 944 turbo up to the show. I was in. And that's really all you needed to be to fit in it, right? That was the thing. Now, today, we've gone full circles. Now we do an exotic event and we do a track day, and what are you going to bring to the track? You're going to have the Lamborghini Performantes. You're going to have the Dodge Hellcats. You're going to have, the Camaros. That's, all that. I think it was LV, whatever. I can never remember the name of that stuff now. But anyway, the fast one. But these cars, they can keep up. They can go on the track and be as performance oriented, and now you're hanging out with these guys. It's the moment when we did the Murcielago video, and then somebody did a video afterwards with the Corvettes, I want to say ZR1, and the Corvette ZR1 was keeping up with the Murcielago, and they're like, see, our car is just as good. No, your car is not a Lamborghini. It's okay, but you are right. Your car effectively can hang with the big boys, and you have a chance to prove that on the track. In other words, you don't just wave your finger and say you are. You have to actually prove it. A lot of you guys didn't prove that because you just wanted to own the car and just say, I have something as good as it, which is really your excuse for buying it. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. In other words, you don't spend $500,000, spend $80,000, $90,000, and you had a car that was, I guess, just as fast. That's how it works. That's the idea of what the beauty of this is. One car gets you in. The other car is the one you love. It's your car because you can afford it. It fits into your area. It's the car you identify with. And that's what we need. We need more people being able to find those things, open the venues. And manufacturers out there, you have to get it done. You have to bring us more stuff. And I hate to say it, but you have to build an identity just like Lambo did here. So, yeah, that was amazing. And I love the little discussion we had afterwards because I think it's so true. I can't sell it enough to get out there and say, if you want in the party, you got to earn it and you got to put in the work. So that's been my show today. I wanted to keep it at 30 minutes because I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be my first time doing stuff with the Spotify video stuff. It's our first time back with Carside Chat, showing you really a cool car, and it's something that really excites me, and I hope it excites you too. If you have input, don't hold back. Put it in the comments. Tell me what you think about this car. Tell me what you think that Ferrari could do to do its stuff better. What could Porsche do? Is the concept of a social room where you could go to Porsche and appreciate some of their older cars, almost like a museum? Is that the way you would go? Does that work for brands like Toyota or Ford or Chevy or any of that stuff? Is that something that would work for them? I don't think it would work for Honda, but I don't know. That's you guys got to tell me. You got to put it in the comments, and it's not just one thing; it's all things. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about the path we have forward. I am already trying to line up the next car for our first 360 shoot. You're not gonna believe it, but it is gonna be really fun. I got actually multiple people lined up, not just one or two, but we're going to do that. We're going to do the chat stuff. We're going to bring in the ability to have guests finally. After I finish the website stuff up, I promised I'd be able to do that, and it's happening. So we are hopefully trucking at full speed finally. But I'm very excited about it, and I'm excited to have you guys along for the ride. Remember, this is a journey for all of us. I'm an entertainer. My job is not to be happy about a lot of this stuff. It's about making sure that you're happy with a lot of this stuff. And if I can make this world a bigger place and a better place for everybody, then hey, let's do it. Let's do it together, and let's make a difference. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a great show today. Remember that just keep tuned to the channel. Keep on here. I'm going to try to make as much stuff as I can. I am one guy, so if it stops, don't lose any sleep over it. There will be more stuff. Winter is a tough time, but I want us to, like I said, I want it to keep rolling and doing everything you're doing. So, like I said, and I already kind of ruined the end there, but yeah, as always, guys. Keep rolling.